Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a beautiful, lovely day today. I thought I would just do a August TBR, what I'm planning on reading this month. I've been extremely on my reading game this year so far. I'm at I want to say 29 books this year, which is crazy for me. My goal is I think 32. I think my goal is 32 because last year it was 30 or 31. So I'm already almost done, but that does mean I'm severely behind on my maybe not severely, but I am behind on my movie goal, which is 100 movies. I think I'm at 46 or something movies, so I do need to kind of pick up that pace, but that's not why we're here today. Today we're going to talk about what I plan to read in August. Today is August 2nd, I think? Yeah, today's August 2nd. I have 5 books today, which is usually quite ambitious, but I have been reading so much lately, and I've been reading a lot on Libby, and I'm trying to get into my physical TBR because I'm staring at my physical TBR right behind you, and it is intimidating and it is large, and I need to get cracking on it. Game plan for August. I want to have nothing on my weekends. I truly don't feel like going out. I don't feel like doing events in August other than maybe solo stuff, because I've been doing things with my friends during the week, after work. So I kind of like doing that and then leaving my weekends for me to get my shit together and film and edit. And then I also like reading in between on weekends and watching movies. That's kind of why I think I can have more books, but I'm also going on a trip in August, so I will have hopefully time to read while I'm traveling in Europe. So I'm really excited about that, and I picked out some books in mind because of that. So I'm just gonna get going and start talking about them. The first book I'm planning on reading is called The Diabolic. I have had this book on my TBR for a million years. I don't even know when I bought this. This is actually in a series, but I'm thinking that I'm only gonna end up reading this first book unless I really like it, because it's just been on my TBR for so long that I don't think I'm that invested in it anymore. However, I have started reading it already, so I'm about 50 pages in, and it's actually reading quite nicely. I'm going pretty quickly through it, but it's YA, and I don't read as much YA anymore, and this is definitely fantasy YA, but I am liking it. So we'll see. If at the end of it I really like it, maybe I'll try to get the second and third book on Libby, but where I am right now is I don't think I'm going to need to own the other books. So I'll tell you where I am right now. By the way, it's Diabolic by S.J. Kincaid. I never said that. So far, it's about a girl named Nemesis, and she is a diabolic. And so diabolics are humanoid species, so they're not humans, but they're human adjacent. It says she doesn't have the soul, and the only reason she can feel love is because it was altered in her brain, and she was altered to only love one person, and her name is Sidonia. And she's this young girl of a noble family, or he's called a senator, so he's part of the government, but government is structured a little differently than how we see it today. And so her Nemesis's one job is to protect Sidonia at all costs, and that's why she's engineered to only love Sidonia. Otherwise she'll kill everyone. Nemesis was bought basically by Sidonia's family, and now Sidonia's diabolic. But there was a time skip, and now diabolics are outlawed. Sidonia's family hides Nemesis because it's a retroactive ban, so all diabolics that are alive are supposed to be killed basically. Something happens where the emperor gets mad at Sidonia's father, and there's a lot of political strife. The emperor wants Sidonia's father to send Sidonia away, and instead of doing that, they're planning on sending Nemesis instead of Sidonia. And I can already tell there's going to be a little bit of a romance in this. And it does feel I can kind of already tell where some of the plot points are, which it makes sense because it's YA, so it's not super complicated. But yeah, I'm actually liking it so far. It reads really easy, so I'm cruising through it, and it's about 400 pages. So I'm thinking my plan is to hopefully finish this before I leave on my trip, and I think that should be possible. Okay, that's my first book. Second book is Find Me by André Asseman, by the same person who wrote Call Me By Your Name. And Call Me By Your Name, which is right here, is my favorite book, and it's also my favorite movie. I will acknowledge that there is some problematic things in here because there's an age gap. I personally really love the writing. I watched the movie when I was in college, and then I read the book during one of my summers in college, but it was one of the summers where I went home, so I must have been a sophomore or maybe a freshman, I don't know. I had all this hype from watching the movie, but the book still held up. The book still filled my expectations. I think it's written so beautifully. So Find Me, I'll read, but I'm almost sure that it's about the dad. So I've heard that this book does not live up to Call Me By Your Name. I've heard it's not as good, but I'm gonna read it anyways because I really, really liked Call Me By Your Name. So the little insert says, "Hey guys, it's me editing this later. When I was reading the blurb of this book, I read it so quickly and I mumbled my way through it, so I'm gonna reread it to you now because it was not understandable what I said. So this is what the blurb says. In Find Me, Osman shows us Elio's father, Samuel, on a trip from Florence to Rome to visit his son, who has become a gifted classical pianist. A chance encounter on the train upends Samuel's plans and changes his life forever. Later, Elio moves to Paris, where he, too, has a consequential affair, while Oliver, now a New England college professor with a family, suddenly finds himself contemplating a return trip across the Atlantic." Okay. Thanks. So it is going to be about Elio and Oliver again. So I guess if you haven't read Call Me By Your Name, I highly recommend. But it's about family. So Samuel, like I said, and then Elio, who is Samuel's son. They have a house in northern Italy, and they invite graduate students to their house every year. It's very bougie, very rich academia. It's very light academia vibes, I think is a good way of explaining it. Sorry, the light just changed. I am using natural lighting. Oliver comes and visits. He's the graduate student that's chosen to come study, and it's kind of etymological, history-esque, philosophy type of research. And Elio and Oliver kind of have a little bit of a torrid romance. So this book is the follow-up to that. I think it's very, very summer vibes. Tell me this cover does not look extremely summer vibes. So I think this would be a really good one to take on my trip. It is a hardcover, but it's a very light hardcover. So I'm thinking about bringing this. So that's my second book I'm really excited about. Kind of similar-ish vibe. I have two classics that I would like to read. So I have 1984, and then this is Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. Two things. So I'll start with 1984. I have never read George Orwell. I have this weird memory. So when I was in high school, I want to say Brit Lit, we had this list of books you had to choose from, and you had to write or I think I did give a presentation on it, and I'm pretty sure I did Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I think I was the only one to do it, but so many people chose Animal Farm by George Orwell because it was the shortest book and you could find a Spark Notes on it. So I listened to 20 presentations on Animal Farm, and I don't think I ever need to read Animal Farm after experiencing all those presentations. But I've always wanted to read 1984 by George Orwell, and I've heard it's a really accessible classic and probably quite prevalent because it's kind of about Big Brother, which Big Brother starts today. Happy Big Brother to everyone. It just seems really prevalent because it's about being watched by the government and stuff like that, I think anyways. And then Northanger Abbey, my girl Jane Austen, love of my life. I love you, Jane Austen. I have not read this one yet. As you can see, I got it for $5 at Half Price Books. It's also a pretty skinny one, which I think is great for getting back into classics. I haven't read a classic in a while, so I'm hoping that this would be a good one to get into. I will read you this because I'm not even sure what this one is about. Northanger Abbey is a lighthearted account of a young girl's first excursion into fashionable society. Catherine Morland is taken to Bath. Why did I try to say that British? Catherine Morland is taken to Bath, where among a crowd of new acquaintances she meets Henry Tilney and his sister Eleanor, who invites her to stay at their family home, Northanger Abbey. Catherine, a devotee of horrid Gothic novels, fervently hopes that the Abbey will match the haunted ruins conjured up in her imagination. That's my Jane Austen pick. Okay, last big one is I'm hoping to finally get around to The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. It's a very, very beautiful book. Okay, it's pretty plain underneath, to be honest, but I have wanted to read this for a long time. It's dark academia is all I know. I know it's a little bit of supernatural stuff, so I guess I'll read this too. I do like going in blind, but for this video, I will be reading the little blurb. Ooh, this is pretty though. France, 1714. In a moment of desperation, a young woman named Adeline meets a dangerous stranger and makes a terrible mistake. As she realizes the limitations of her Faustian bargain, ooh, interesting, I like the reference, being able to live forever without being able to be remembered by anyone she sees, Addie chooses to flee her small village as everything she once held dear is torn away. But there are still dreams to be had and a life to live, and she's determined to find excitement and satisfaction in the wide, beckoning world, even if she will be doomed to be alone forever. That sounds pretty good to me. So this one's a thick boy. I'm a bit of a mood reader, so we'll see how things go, but this is kind of the last on the list, so there's a chance I won't get to it. However, there's one more thing I want to acknowledge that I almost forgot about. Okay, hey. Okay. Whew. It's hard to get out. I was deep in my corner of my book wall. I'm hoping to get into my Norton edition of Shakespeare because, oh my gosh, look at this. This is all from my college time, from when I took my Shakespeare through the lens of the Commonwealth class. But I went and saw, oh, things are falling in my book wall. I went and saw Shakespeare in the Park, and it was the play Macbeth. And I don't think I've ever read Macbeth, like, fully. And it was my first time, I think, seeing Shakespeare live. So I'm hoping to read Macbeth, which I gotta assume it's in here. It's so big, it's got like Bible pages. Like, this is a page. So anyways, I think it's in here. If it's not, I have to have it in there somewhere. I have like a few other anthologies from other classes I had to take. But I'm hoping to read Macbeth, and my plan is to find a production on YouTube and read it as I watch it, because we were sitting like so far away, you couldn't really see the stage very well, so it was kind of all off of ear. I couldn't always tell who was talking, so that's on my list, but I think I can read that in one sitting, obviously. So yeah, that's my August TBR. Let me hold this up for you. So I'm really excited, and hopefully I do a good job. I am a mood reader, so there's a chance these will change, but I'm hoping that this is what I stick to. So yeah, let me know what you're planning on reading, and I hope you have a good reading month in October. In August, I'm already in fall vibes apparently, and I hope that you have no reading slumps, or you get out of your reading slump this month. So thank you for, almost just dropped these everywhere. Thank you for watching my video. If you want to hear more about books, movies, pop culture, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Peace, love, and happiness. Mwah. Goodbye.